watch this video if you have problems to talk on the phone in English. It can happen to anyone in any level. I'll tell you what happened to me a few weeks ago and how I worked it around and continued the conversation. Hey there! Teacher Briggs here to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in English. You know, I consider myself a fluent English speaker. I mean, I teach English, I study English every day, I can communicate efficiently, but last week I got a phone call and I didn't feel so comfortable. Actually, for my standards, I'm very demanding with myself, but I didn't think I did a good job. But why did that happen? I'll tell you why, but first let's tell you the story. When I answered the phone and the person started speaking English to me, I must confess I was not expecting the phone call, and the person started asking me some questions about an email he had sent me, a business email. So for a moment I panicked because I must confess I read the email, but I didn't really pay attention and studied the email. So as he started asking me questions about the email, my mind started to wander. And I had the worst negative thoughts you can imagine. Of course, I'm being very hard on myself. I was able to communicate efficiently, but it was not the standard that I expect from myself. I just felt insecure about something that I'm usually very confident about. But then, I realized something very important, which is what I want to share with you. I didn't speak what I wanted. I spoke what I could. Many English learners have problems to accept that. They are so worried about giving the most appropriate answers and beautiful, correct, with proper intonation and pronunciation that they get stuck. It has the opposite effect. Only when I started to relax and accepted that I was not going to use my favorite verbs or expressions or amazing adjectives that I was able to communicate. I relaxed because I accepted that I was going to do what I could to talk to that guy and answer his questions about the business we were talking about. Now, I have an extensive vocabulary in English. My structure is really good. I'm very proud of it. But when you are in the real world, in the war zone, you speak what is necessary to communicate. And that's different from the theory. That's different from the books. You do what you can, and you do what you can to communicate efficiently. It's time to use what you have, not what you think would be appropriate for that situation. So my first recommendation is review simple structures that will help you deal with those kind of situations. But other than that, don't expect to remember all those fancy words and expressions that you study. Now, I'm going to show you 2 basic expressions and 1 strategy that I always use when I am on the phone that helps me communicate when I answer the phone and start to panic. So these are some strategies, okay? Now, there are many things about conversations on the phone that I will not talk about here in this video, but if you are interested, make sure to let me know in the comments because then I can make more videos to talk about more specific situations, okay? And remember one important thing, the more you panic, the less structure and vocabulary you will remember. So that's why it is very important to stay calm. Now, here I want to give you a phrase that will help you buy some time. If you answer the phone and the person starts speaking and speaking and speaking and you feel lost and you feel overwhelmed and confused, stop the person and say, excuse me, can you speak more slowly, please? Then, don't say it's because of your English. Say you are having a bad connection. So, excuse me, can you speak a little bit more slowly? We have a bad connection. Now, don't focus on your English difficulties. Focus on something else, okay? You don't need to make this conversation embarrassing for you, okay? Blame technology. Now, if the person started speaking and you have no idea what they're talking about, do this. I'm sorry, can I call you back in 5 minutes? Why can I call you back in 5 minutes? Maybe you have no idea what the person is talking about. Maybe you are not the best person to answer that phone call. So 5 minutes will give you time to read the email, if you have an email that you didn't read, to ask for somebody's help, okay? And find a solution to that problem. If you are at work, it doesn't matter if you speak English or not, you need to find a solution. That's what I tell my business students. So in this case, if you can't speak, find someone that can. If you are the only one, 5 minutes will give you time to calm down and prepare for the conversation. There's nothing wrong about that. You will have to ask for the person's phone number, or you will ask them to call you back. You can say, can I call you back? Then you need their phone number. Or you can tell them to call you back in 5 minutes. When I worked at the bank and someone called me and I wasn't sure of what I had to say, I told them, excuse me, can I call you in 5 minutes? And they were okay. That's better than saying, oh, I don't understand what you're saying. I'm sorry, my English. No, focus on the result. Focus on something that will give you time to calm down and think. And finally, a strategy. If they are asking you for something specific, and it depends on the conversation, okay? I like to repeat what the speaker said. And while I repeat his question or his phrase, I start to think about the conversation. What is he talking about? So if they call me and said, as my business partner called me and he said, Priscilla, have you read the email I sent you this morning? I repeat what he said. Oh, the email you sent me this morning? Oh, yeah, sure. I read it. This seconds, I know it's seconds, 2-3 seconds, but that will give you some time to focus on what you have to say next, because probably the listener will say, yes, I sent you this morning. What do you think of the ideas that I sent you in this email? Okay, so this strategy may sound silly, but it gives your brain time to structure what you can say next. Because remember, this is not our native language. So any second you can get to prepare yourself is great, is an advantage. In a future video, I will show you more extensive expressions and situations of phone conversations because there are so many possibilities of conversations on the phone and many possible problems that we may have during those phone conversations. But I wanted to make this video short. In the meantime, if you want to receive more lessons about everyday problems that English speakers have when they are communicating in meetings, job interviews, at work, during trips, on vacation, exchange programs, or at restaurants, I have an email list where I'm focusing on specific situations like these ones and creating effective lessons that will help you use the English you already have so that you can succeed in those situations with the real English, not just the school English from the books. The materials will be primarily in English with a little bit of Portuguese for the more basic learners. But I'm pretty sure that these materials will help you a lot. If you want to participate, it's free and the link is at the descriptions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much and I'll see you next time. Bye!